You are listening to Storymakers, the podcast for women who are ready to step into their true identity, live with meaningful purpose, find belonging and connection, grow in leadership, and walk boldly in faith. Here you can uncover the story that you were created to live because you were made for such a time as this. So today we're talking with Tamara, and she is an amazing woman who really cares about health. She really cares about wellness. She cares about the heart of women. She cares about the health of women's mindsets, not just physical body, but I know that you are definitely very interested in the mindset and the work of renewing your mind and the truth of God's word infiltrating your mindset and like being able to look at and think on the things above. And I know that you're really creative. And I also know that you're very fun. So I think if you live down the street, we'd probably hang out a lot because, like you said, we're both honest people.
And I make great coffee.
And you make great coffee, which I would really, really appreciate about you. So that's my kind of quick version of an introduction about you. But I know that you have a lot to say. You've lived a lot of different experiences in your life. I know that you're very multi-passionate like I am. And I like that about you. So I don't know, share some of the things that you've done, some of the things that you love doing, some of those multi-passions that you have with us. And because I just want to give a little bit of a framework before we dive into our conversation today for like, who are you? Because the listeners love to identify with the people who I'm having conversations with.
Okay, well, let's see. I have to say, I have been married to the best husband ever for 35 years. Oh my goodness, he's amazing to put up with me. And I have 4 kids. 2 of them I received, weaned and toilet trained, which is amazing. And the other 2 are homegrown. And they're all old. And that's what I always tell them. They're old because they're just grown-ups, and that's weird because they're aging and I'm not. And that's so weird.
I know, you're still like 39. How do you even do it?
How do I do it? It's kind of crazy. And I have been in the fitness world for a really long time. It's funny because I do teach fitness classes, teach probably at this point, I don't know, a lot. But I've been doing it for 40 years, which is really funny because that's longer than my boss has been alive. So that's always fun. So I've kind of become everybody's sort of like fitness mama. I know I taught Zumba for 13 years, and we had a big group of women that were all fitness instructors or Zumba instructors, and we were called the Zumbalicious mamas or anything, something like that. And I was literally the Zumba mama because I was the oldest person. And for those of you that cannot see this, I'm using air quotes because I'm not sure how I got to be the oldest person. But
well, there's a difference between the age of your soul and the age of your body.
I agree.
And I think you and I are still 19 in our souls, regardless of what our bodies keep going on to do without us.
And that is, I totally believe that. Because I really think, especially when you're living, we live for Christ and you have His Holy Spirit, your body is going to age. But internally, I think He just keeps me ridiculously silly. And that is what keeps me doing what I do.
If you live down the street, I would like to change my sentence earlier. If you live down the street, we would drink coffee and we would probably have a trampoline in the backyard.
Oh, we could.
That would be
we
so
actually
fun.
Could.
I would double bounce you all the time.
Oh, rude. Okay.
I know. You would love it.
Wait, maybe we don't want a trampoline. I'll get the little personal ones. So I've been doing fitness for about over 40 years. I've worked in the weight management world for 20 years. I grew up as a kid wanting to be, you might not take this too surprising. I actually was telling someone the other day, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I thought that would be like the best job ever.
I still think it would be the best job ever.
I did memorize albums, yes. So for those of you that don't know, albums are big discs that little needle goes on and plays music or words or whatever. And I would memorize comedian on albums and then do the stand-up for my parents every night.
That is excellent.
Yeah, that's what I did. It was so fun. But I also love refinishing furniture. I've done so many jobs. We don't have enough time to discuss all the jobs I've had. They have been varied from import, export to you literally, you name it. I've been an auto mechanic. I've done a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And I've traveled. Yeah. Grew up in Southern California and lived in Washington and then moved to Tennessee, which is beautiful. And then moved back to Washington, but only for 8 months. And then moved back to Texas. And I don't know if I'm going to leave Texas.
Oh,
I don't know.
Digging some roots. Okay.
I'm not too deep. Not too deep, but
I don't think you can dig too deep in Texas.
You can't.
Without hitting oil.
Which doesn't sound like a bad thing. Okay, we're next door neighbors, dig for oil, and then, right?
Yeah. Right. When we close it up, we'll put a trampoline over it.
Then who's going to get double bumped with the oil? Think about that. So and I've been a coach in various different capacities for, about 8 years, off and on. That kind of comes and goes. I do that whenever the Lord calls me to it.
Yeah. With the ones in front of you, it seems like you're kind of, because you worked at a coffee shop.
Yes.
Or do you still work there?
Oh, no, I don't work there, but that's right. That's my other thing. And I've owned a coffee shop. Yes, I love.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that you probably are the mama, not just the dance mama and the Zimbalicious mama. Like you're the mama, because I know when you were coaching and you were also working at the coffee shop, I know the people around you saw you kind of like the mama. I need a hug. I need wisdom. I need counsel. I need guidance. I think that just kind of naturally comes out of you. And
which
is really is revealed in your heart for people and the love you have.
Oh, thank you. It was. I am still Mama T. I still get text messages from all the college kids, and the first thing they say is Mama T. So one of the girls has now become my honorary daughter and checks in and stays with us. And which is, I find that is just so the Lord, because I am an only child. I grew up not ever wanting to have kids, didn't care about it, didn't even care if I got married. And now I have 4 kids and who knows how many others around. And I am literally even a mama at the Crunch Fitness where I work. I can't help it.
Definitely a calling and a gifting that God kind of knit into you. Yeah. Whether you recognized it or not. Yeah.
I don't think I did. Honestly, I don't really think I did until I started working at the coffee shop. And I'm surrounded by college kids. And I went, oh, I just want to squish them all. And I also want to give them a little bit of tough love and be smacked upside the head and, all that. All of the stuff that they need. Yeah.
A squish and a smack, depending on the day.
Ooh.
Maybe we'll title the episode, A Squish and a Smack.
There's some parenting advice for somebody.
Right.
Yeah, it could work for me too, though. So, yeah.
You said that this morning, and as you were praying about our conversation, the Lord kind of spoke to you about a specific area of John.
Yeah, which is so funny that it goes right along with the mama thing. So I was looking for a topic, asking the Lord to bring me something. And he actually gave me the entire chapter of John 14. And I've read it before and I've done studies. It left me in tears. I mean, I just sat there and just cried because his goodness it's overwhelming how good he is. And he specifically brought me to verse 18. And it's so funny when I don't like to read verses out of context, but this is just this. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. And because he was talking about how he's going to be leaving and they're freaking out and they're like, how can you go? What do you mean? Where are you going? And just that statement alone sunk in today as that I'm not an orphan. I mean, I'm on earth. I am. I had the honor of taking care of both my parents until they passed and seeing them walk into the kingdom, which was mind blowing. Again, his goodness. But to be reminded that I'm not an orphan and that because I'm not an orphan, I can live like I'm accepted. I'm good. I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to be constrained to, well, this is the way it has to be now. You have to kind of live this way. No, I can actually experiment and try things. and be like a kid, honestly, because I'm his. It's sort of that you are aging, but you can be a 19-year-old in your soul.
Right. I have 2 stepkids and they're mine. I say like,
Of course.
like you, like, I'm like, I got 5 kids, 2 born of my heart, 3 born of my womb, and lots of spiritual children. But I remember when I wanted to be a stepmom, like it was in my heart to have stepkids before I met my husband and knew that he would have 2 children when I met him. And I remember, and I'm not going to probably do this justice, but I remember learning a long time ago that at some point, a long, long time ago, and I think it was in like the Romans practiced this, and it was closer to biblical times, when what they did is if you had a natural born child, they were actually able to disown that child.
Really?
Okay. But if that child was adopted, they could not be cut out. And I thought it was so powerful because I'm like, the natural born, like, obviously, like when I had my children, I'm like, I want you.
Yes.
But there's a switch. And especially when you foster and adopt, when you have stepchildren, it's just like, and then you have natural born children, there's just there's a shift in your heart. Yeah. When you choose somebody, I have my blood family, but then I have that like kind of my chosen family, my friends and the people that I have surrounded myself with. And there's something that's very different in a relationship when somebody is chosen.
Yep.
And adopted. And that is definitely in the spirit realm with God, the Father. When we have been adopted, we are no longer orphans, and we cannot be cut off from his love. We can't be cut out of the will. We cannot be disowned because we were chosen very, very specifically by him. And I think it's just a beautiful picture of going from orphan and slave mindset to adopted and chosen sons and daughters,
Oh, it's huge. And I've never thought of it that way. But yeah, when I married my husband, I had an 8 and a 9-year-old, and I chose to be their mom. And I remember actually telling them, because it was the divorce was a very tumultuous divorce, and it was not pretty. And they were looking for something solid. I knew that my kids were looking for something solid. And I remember telling them that I'm not going anywhere. Like when I said I do, I did with your dad. But by saying I did to your dad, I'm saying I did to you. I'm not going anywhere. I will be here forever. And at the time it was amazing. They've since, done their thing or whatever, but we've come back into more of a relationship with my stepdaughter. And that is the one thing that she has always brought up to me. And she said, you're still here. I said, yeah, I'm still here. Of course I'm here. Where would I go? Where would I go? You're still mine.
I'm still yours.
And I'm still, and I'm still your mom. And I'm still the pain in the one that was like, actually discipline you and be, But I guess I didn't, I think I knew that, but I don't think it until you just said that, I went, wow, that's true. Like I chose them.
Yeah. And
I could have said no.
I guess I am also kind of the person who, if you're my friend, if you're in my world, I just operate that way. I'm yours, you're mine.
Yeah.
So I tend to be like, oh, my clients, my friends' kids, my kids' friends, like all of them. I'm like, I'm yours. I'm your Laura. And you're mine. So like whatever your needs are, whatever your burdens are, like they're mine too. And I'll be with you, like whatever you need, I'm going to be there. You call me, I'm going to show up. This is who I am. And I think the world doesn't always expect that from somebody,
No.
And so, especially children, I mean, my parents got divorced. Every single person in my family, like for generations, like every couple has been divorced. Like that is a product and a byproduct, and it's been generational. And it kind of sets you up for like the context of like, this is just going to happen.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
People are going to leave, you know?
Mhm.
And so when you operate that way, but where is it? The verse, God is not man that he should lie. Like God the Father is not like our earthly dads or earthly moms. Like God is not, and Jesus is not like us, where we just get up and leave or cancel or block or ghost. Like
I was going to say, or ghost. That's, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
right. Or
No.
there's so many terms today, gaslight,
Right.
like all of the things. Like
All of
he
the
doesn't
things.
act like us. So it actually requires a shift in your paradigm to go from somebody who expects people to leave, expects people to cut off and cut out and break up. And it shifts because you grow up with a mindset, your childhood mind, and then you become an adult that believes your brain's still explaining to you, like, that's just what people are going to do. And then when you meet God, you're like, I'm waiting for you to pull the rug out from underneath me. I'm waiting for you to punish me. I'm waiting for you to cut me off. I'm waiting for you to stop loving me, because we have a life of expectancy that that's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a lot of a shift to dig out the roots of acting like an orphan to becoming somebody who acts like she's been adopted and she's a daughter. And I'm still working on it.
Oh, well, I don't think we ever gets done working on it, because obviously
Right.
I was reading John 14, was smacked upside the head with it. No, I mean, it for sure. And I ended up writing like who he is. And I think that's where I'm finding myself going to, is like looking at his character. His character's not I'm attempting to be holy as he is holy. Yeah. Just, you could take a survey, but let's not take that survey of how well I'm doing. But that's just not right. But just to look at his character and just know who he is, and it shifts everything. So if I'm feeling, and I'm just gonna put it out there, I don't rely a lot on my feelings, because feelings, this is such, get ready, have your mind blown. Feelings are like choo-choo trains. They just kind of keep coasting. They just keep running by, and you can jump on the train if you want, but you're going to end up somewhere you don't want to be. So a lot of times it's better if you just watch the train go and not get sucked into the tweet,
right,
as it goes. But I sometimes can get caught up in my own, my own second guessing or worrying or whatever. If I can catch myself, which I'm getting better at, some days really good, some days, meh, and focus on who he is.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh yeah. All right, big deep breaths. Okay. And then I can pursue what I'm supposed to be pursuing. But it's that stopping. It's that split second. Wait a minute, but who is he? Who is the Lord? Who is God? Who is he? If I look at his character, then I don't really, and that's who loves me. That's who chose me. I'm wretched. Okay. I'm just going to walk in that.
Right. I mean, that is the paradigm shift.
Yeah, that is,
that's
it
the
is
ultimate.
Yeah, that is where everything, because there's so much going on that we can say, and I hear that a lot. Because the classes I teach, specifically actually on Thursday, I have active older classes. They say active older, whatever that is.
Everybody over 39.
Right, which is 99.9% of my classes, even if they're in his own class, but that's okay.
Yeah.
They have to differentiate it. But I will talk to them. And they're all amazing. Because I really do have a myriad. But some of the women, some of the people I talk to just in passing, or just like at the grocery store or whatever, they're weighed down. They talk like and even if they're saved, even if they're they're Christians, they worry, they're weighed down, they're preoccupied, they're either worrying about their kids or trying to lose that last 5 pounds that they've been trying to lose for 20 years, or they're always, it's almost like they're trying to do stuff. And go ahead. Trying is great. But when it's like you're constantly and trying, and then it's going to be great when. So as soon as this, then, and have that as soon as you could just do it now. You could just walk in that fullness now. You could just, whatever you could just, brush off, just give the Lord your worries and your concerns and your burdens, because that's what he told us to do. So that alone right there, give it all to him, and then stop trying to take it back and figure you could fix it better. Because that's not really trusting.
And it's really trying to shift a circumstance externally versus shifting things within our soul and taking personal responsibility, letting our spirits rise up to lead our souls, so that, like you said, if we're waiting for this circumstance to change and then we'll be happy, we could tap into joy right now. That's that fruit of the spirit in our lives. We could tap into that regardless of the circumstance. Likely, a lot of times we have reached that circumstance, something changes, but our mindset doesn't, and we're still dissatisfied. Because now we did lose 5 pounds, but we're still not happy because we're so used to not being happy until something significantly shifts externally, versus taking the personal responsibility to do something like about the way you think and believe, feel, and act, and say like, I'm going to find joy and tap into that. I'm going to be content in this and watch it shift as I move towards taking right action. Or I heard somebody say this lately. She said, I don't remember who it was, and she said, in 10 years, we're going to wish we had the body we have today. So why don't we just enjoy this one? And I was like, wow, I wish somebody had told me that, like, when I was 20
years ago,
and I was 40. One day you're going to look back and say, this body's awesome. So maybe you should go ahead and enjoy it while you got it.
Well, or deciding, that's honest to goodness. That could very well be true. I mean, Yep.
I hope to be stronger in 10 years than I am now. I hope to be working towards that. But I think oftentimes we are judging our circumstances and things externally and spending too much time, like you said, being anxious about them and worrying about so many things that are either beyond our control, or we're actually just not taking any responsibility for doing anything about, but we're still complaining about it. And then we get all worked up and we're not trusting the Lord. We're not leaning on him instead of our own understanding. We're trying to strive and we're cycling.
Well, and in that cycle, who is it about? We're focusing on ourselves. Again, we're not looking to his character and who he is, and being grateful. So I know for myself, because I did not grow up like I didn't grow up an athletic kid or whatever. I grew up bigger. It sounds so weird to say bigger because I'm 5'6". I'm not even big at all, but I have
a large framed body. Like I'm only 5'6", but I've always had I have a larger framed body. I'm not petite. And a lot of times you buy me a bracelet, it's not going to fit around my wrist. And I always thought, as a kid, I always thought I was like, I wouldn't say that I spent my teenage years going like, I'm fat, I'm ashamed or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that I built muscle really easily, and I didn't know muscle weighed more than fat. So I always thought that because my number was higher than all my friends, I thought it meant something about me. But then I actually made a decision one day and said, I don't care anymore. Like a number's not going to boss me around. And I was in my early 20s, and I was just like, that's annoying
that in
to
your
me.
20s.
Well, no, it was the fighter and the rebel in me was like, you know what? I'm sick of that. I'm tired of it. I've thought about it for 10 years and I don't want that anymore. And I am like, you be you the way you are right now.
Yeah.
And you are going to be healthier mentally, emotionally, and physically if you don't live under judgment and shame and condemnation, whether it's coming from outside of you or from inside of you, you will be healthier in every way without the weight and the heaviness of judgment, shame, and condemnation. And
because
comparison.
It worked. And if it worked, let's be clear. If judgment, shame, and condemnation work, everyone would be at their ideal weight. I mean, let's just
we'd all just be so happy.
We'd be so happy.
We actually wouldn't.
So happy.
We would just find something else to focus on. There's people.
Yeah, oh gosh, there's a whole, I have a friend who says, heathen's gonna heathe. And it just makes me giggle. Every time I hear it, it's like, yes, they are.
That's my thing. And people is a noun and people is a verb. People.
Right. So people, they do people. And I grew up thinking that I was a large boned person. And because I was 5'4" in 4th grade. I developed really early. I grew 6 inches over the summer from 3rd to 4th grade. I mean, I just went from a larger kid anyway to like this so tall and big. I really wasn't, but in my head, I thought I was because everybody was so small. It was really weird, and it didn't hit me. I honestly did not realize that I was not the tallest human on the planet until I hit junior high, and suddenly went, "Oh crap! Oh my gosh, this is amazing! There's taller people." I was thrilled. But I still thought I was big boned. I still thought that I was bigger than everybody else until we did. I think it was health class. One of the health classes in high school, and they did that measuring around the wrist. And I went, okay, I'm small. I'm actually small. My bones are fairly small. Well, that's weird. Okay. And I was heavier, but I also danced and I did, I've always been active. I played kickball. I did dance. Wow. I was in the Nutcracker on toe. That's right. I was a snowflake. I know. It is my one claim to fame, and I'm going to own it, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to own that part. But it wasn't until I started lifting weights that I went, oh, wow. Because I'm not a competitive person. I could give a rip. I'll play to win, I guess. But if I don't care.
I play to go out for pizza with all my friends.
Yes. Or coffee. Coffee's always there. It's always in there. But yeah, I don't care who wins. I'll go with I'll be the loser if I get to go and have coffee. I don't care.
Yep.
But it wasn't until I hit high school and I started lifting and I went, okay, this is something I could do because there's no competition with anybody else but me. And I can lift heavy. And this is fun. That's where it all, that and my famous story. So when I was 12, a movie came out starring Sylvester Stallone. And I was standing in the theater yelling. I never did that before that movie. And I was yelling for Rocky to win. And I loved that movie so much that I went and bought the soundtrack, the album. Yes, another one of those discs. And I played the music over and over. And I worked out what I thought was working out. I had no idea what I was doing. And I did teach myself how to do one-arm push-ups. I was so enamored with the workout and the stuff that goes into it, and that has never left me. Can you
still do a one-armed push-up?
No, my shoulder won't let me. But
I can do half of one. I can go down.
Yes, it's the getting up. It's always the
down on the one arm.
I can deadlift almost about 100. I'm working on deadlifting about 100 pounds, 120 pounds. I like lifting. It's fun. I like being strong. I don't care so much about the weight.
Yeah.
See, in my 20s, I didn't care about, it's not like I didn't want to be smaller. I just wanted to be buffer.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it'd be fun to be bufferer. And then I got married and had kids and thought, I don't need to be buffer. I could just be a mama. And then I said, nah, I need to be bufferer again, and started getting it.
I need to be bufferer.
Bufferer. That's my word. My bufferer. Yeah.
Everything that you're saying makes me think of my yoke is easy, my burden is light.
Yeah.
And just the admonition of the Lord. The yoke is there to give us guidance. We know that there's someone who gives us direction and care and is with us.
Yeah.
We're not being yanked around and drugged behind. And it's there, but it's that yoke being easy, the burden being light. It actually is, that's someone who is nurturing and guiding and caring for us.
Yeah.
And in context of what we're talking about, the cares and the worries, the anxieties that we have as women, especially just the older you get, like you said, there's so many parts and pieces. You've got your kids and you've got your health and the changes in your health and perimenopause and menopause. And then you've got your husband and his changes in his health. And you've got your parents and the changes
Parents.
in their health. And
Yes.
there's so many things to be concerned with the older you get. Not that you don't have anything when the younger you are, but it's just like the more life experience you have, the more people in your life, the more responsibilities, the more things you're concerned about. And so, what's your method of casting those cares onto the Lord? What kind of process do you go through? What resources and things do you do?
So I started, music is a really big deal. Music can literally shift everything for me. I have a playlist that I'm continually kind of weeding through, taking out, putting in, and I've named it Change My State. So it
Mm,
changed my state of mind. And it is predominantly worship music, but not the worship music. There's a great playlist on Spotify that says worship music, but it doesn't sound like a Chris Tomlin concert. I love Chris Tomlin. Don't get me wrong. My husband,
but it's a
please,
certain
if my
sound.
husband hears this, please know I love Chris Tomlin. It's okay. But it's different. It's sort of
Yeah.
like, some of it's kind of funky. Some of it's just different. It's fun.
Mhm.
So I've pulled from there. My son, actually, his latest worship song, it's on Spotify too. I listened to that. I have a playlist. I have music, and it started, I mean, it started years ago, but that playlist came together when I was taking care of my dad as he was leaving, getting ready to leave this earth. And I listened to it, like, it's what got me through that,
Mhm.
and lots of out loud talking to the Lord. I tend to
Yeah.
talk to him all day long, and I don't really worry about what I'm saying because he already knows what's in my head anyway. So I've released that idea of like, well, don't get
Yeah.
angry. I think he can handle being angry. I I dance a lot in my house. Actually,
Nice.
I dance a lot everywhere. I dance in weightlifting classes. I dance on the turf when I'm teaching my HIIT classes. I- If I can dance, it releases stuff.
Mhm.
It releases lots. So I do tend to put on that worship music, and I will dance to worship music. To me, the more I can release it physically, the better.
I agree.
I also have a tendency to find humor in almost anything. Maybe
I
not
think
right
that
away.
hugely changes your state.
It does. It does, because there were some really rough times taking care of my, and honestly, aging parents. I know that it can be so challenging. And my parents were not saved when I when I moved them closer to me. And I just remember when my dad passed, it was it was yeah, honestly, it was devastating. Only child, dad's little girl,
Mhm.
everything. It was challenging for my mom and I to figure out how to relate to each other. That was a whole other thing. And I know that's part of it too, is like, if you have a parent that passes and you have the other parent, now you have to figure out, it's just another thing to potentially load on yourself, which doesn't need to be, because a parent's passing isn't a surprise to the Lord. He knows what's going on. He knows what's in your heart. He knows
Yeah.
how it was going to come about. So the more I talk to him, the more I listen to music to like really focus my brain, the more I was so grateful that my mom was there to yell at and argue with. It sounds terrible, but we had stuff we had to work on, and we
Sure.
worked through it verbally. Because we're both really verbal, and taking care of my mom. And I remember when my mom passed, I didn't really, it was it was better when my mom passed. I think I handled it better just because I kind of had some idea. But decided to work through it. And maybe this will work for people, maybe it won't. Counseling is amazing. It's amazing. But at the time, it wasn't financially in our budget. And I thought, I need to let it out, but I don't want to but I didn't want to drive my family away by going, "Ugh." So I literally took hot yoga. I signed up for hot yoga for 2 months. And I think I went to like 4 classes a week. Well, nobody can tell you're bawling your eyes out because you're sweating anyway. And the room is dark and the music is sort of ethereal. So I'm doing this hot yoga thing, tears streaming down my face. And they had no idea. But I would leave going, I felt lighter. I was able to in my head, pray in my head and just pray through the music and come out. And in my car, I was just like, wow, Lord, thank you.
Yeah.
And function better.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because emotions are biochemical responses of the brain in the body, and they need to be able to move through and out, or they get trapped. And then we feel terrible, which is why I bought a punching bag. Because I tend to get angry before I feel other emotions. And so anger is something that I need to be able to get out of my body. I need a way to release it without hurting people I love or like, or don't like. So I want to go to jail.
Wait, I'm good.
So
either way.
I'm going to go buy a punching bag. So I literally bought a punching bag. I think it was like $100 on Amazon.
Yes.
And
that's awesome.
I have it downstairs and I'm like, I would say go punch a pillow if you need to. That's fine. If you need to cry, I have coached multiple people and I have friends that I have said, okay, what you need to do. I have playlists that I listen to. I have like my coach Laura's, worship playlist, but then I also have one that is, you're going to be okay. And it's I feel terrible. I don't know how to get it out. I've been suppressing the emotion because it hasn't been an appropriate time to cry. But now, it's a volcano that is starting to erupt. And I will say, go find a parking lot, take a box of tissues, a bottle of water, sit in your car and turn on this playlist and wait. And let that emotion, the sadness, the despair, the grief, the loss, the disappointment, let it start to rise to the surface so you can actually feel it. Stop suppressing it. And then let this music invite you to experience the emotion that you have so that you can let it out. So you can go home without it. Because that's what it is. You feel lighter because all that emotion that you've been saying, it's not okay to feel that yet. I can't do that at the hospital. We don't need me to be in grief also. I'm being the strong one. I'm holding up the family. I'm all of the things that we carry, especially as women, where we're just like, I will carry you, but who will carry me? And it's, we actually have to find a time, whether it's, maybe the sauna where you're sweating and nobody knows you're crying. Whatever it is, I can't do stuff like that. I'm very hot and sweaty already. People worry about me at the gym. They're like, you need water? And I'm like, no, this is just normal. I'm good. I've been walking, for 15 minutes. This is only going to get worse. Please don't try to fix the red face. Okay.
Back away.
I go straight home and take a shower. And that's why nobody after working out invites me to go to coffee or smoothie. Because Laura needs to go get cleaned up.
Your sweat doesn't bother me.
You later. It's not just sweat. I'm just my whole body turns bright red. And then people will actually in the middle of the class ask me, are you okay? Do you want me to get you a bottle of water? I'm like, no, this is just me. But I guess maybe what I could do is I could cry because nobody would know because
that's right. So you'd be all like, oh, poor thing.
That girl, she probably never worked
bless
out
her heart.
I'm like, I'm okay, guys. You just focus on yourself now. I got me. You get you. So, but coming back to just you gotta find a way to lighten the load. And sometimes it's physical and sometimes it's spiritual. You just need to pass it on and hand it over to Jesus. Lay it at the foot of the cross, whatever you got to do. we all have our different ways and our different, I think
Don't you
too,
it
like
depends on what it is? Like,
right. I was going to say the emotion that you're experiencing, what you're carrying, what you're going
yeah,
through requires different outlets. I think.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just find that because I am so actively whatever, that's just how I express myself in general. I did the same when my dad passed away. I went to, of all things, I was at the Zumba conference. It was super funny. My dad had just passed away, and my friend, her husband, was at the time when there was like a nuclear something that happened. So we're basket cases. So we both we were doing classes together, looking at each other going, "Oh, okay," but we're falling apart. But we had each other to talk to, and then we could cry during the physical part of it. But it's so important that I actually feel the emotions, because that's what I noticed I wasn't doing. I wasn't actually feeling, because it was just easier to just go back to work, or my kids were sad, so I'll take care of my kids. And I think a lot of times we have a tendency to do that. As we get older, I've noticed that friends that I've talked to will take on more. They take on burdens. They don't even need to, but they feel like they need that, but they feel there's a need, like, I need to do this. And so what ends up happening that I'm watching is that they become weighed down, and everything becomes very important. We have to really look at this, and wow, goodness gracious, wow. And it doesn't, I feel like it puts more, not just pressure, like that they're putting on their own psyche, but that all that stuff that goes on in your head and your thoughts. And I'm 60, and I know I've had some very unfruitful conversations with myself. And unless I shift those conversations somehow and maybe take a look at what's actually happening, they're going to stay. And I'm going to continue to do whatever it was I'm doing unless I work to release it. And sometimes, and I was actually avoiding emotions because they just didn't feel good. They hurt, they ached. It took me quite a while. And I know when I've been sad and I'm not feeling it, like I just decided I'll deal with it later. I had a friend that just passed away about a month ago, and it took me about 2 weeks to actually basically to process the fact that he was gone, because he was way too young. 2, I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it. When I finally said, okay, I did that. I was like, okay, you're going to start crying watching a puppy commercial. So let's just chill. So I watched the puppy commercial and allowed myself to be really sad. And I get grief headaches. If I don't allow myself to cry and to feel it, I get headaches because I haven't cried. I feel like the tears are backing up and it's making my brain hurt. So I need to do something about this. And I will literally have a grief headache. So I'm like, it's time. It's time. This is silly. So I have a music, I have a playlist. It's not called anything good. It's just called Write, like to write a letter. Right. But the music is so emotionally charged that literally just brings me right back in. Yeah. And I can sit and journal and cry and literally like write a letter to the Lord saying, please take it. Because I just can't do it. It's just too much. And when I'm done, I'm lighter. Everything's better.
It's really powerful.
So it's so much better.
Yeah.
It's just better.
And I think that goes to show, like we were talking about, there's a lot of different containers for our emotions, a lot of different funnels, and it really depends on you and how you're interpreting and experiencing the circumstance. And is it something that calls for grief or sadness? Like, our emotions we're always going to run the gamut of great and terrible. Suffering is part of our life, and Jesus didn't say we wouldn't have it. He said he'd be with us in it. So our soul and our body are resistant to pain. It doesn't feel good. But when we deny it and try to suppress it, we actually hold on to it longer. We're just trapping it because we want to buffer and we want to do all those other things. It makes more sense to let me just be the strong one. Let me just take on my kids' problems. Let me just do all of these things, as opposed to really stepping into our own story and deciding what is mine to do. And if we actually took all of that energy we're putting into trying to like change the circumstances for our children or control the situation about our parents or at work or the neighborhood or do all of those things, what if we actually spent more time engaging in what the Lord is saying to us for us to do and dealing with the very difficult emotions that we've been trying to escape for decades, the pain, the betrayal, all the things that we have tried to ignore because we don't want to feel it, but they're still there because we never let it go through and out. Like we're just holding on to it. And if we were to spend our time and ask the question, is this mine to do? Then we would be able to say, like what you're talking about with women saying, well, let me worry about this. Let me take on that. Let me do this. And the problem is when you have responsibility without authority, you get bitter and you get resentful.
Yes.
And when you take responsibility for what's going on in my life, but you don't have authority because it's my life, you're going to get bitter and resentful and offended and hurt. But if you were to say, is this fine to do? Yes, that's mine. Then you actually have authority to do what needs to get done. You can seek the Lord out and actually take action. So you can take responsibility for yourself and walk in authority that he's given you and get in alignment with him and actually move the needle. Whereas if you're trying to take responsibility for what's happening in your adult child's life.
Yes.
You don't have any authority to make those changes, to change the way they believe, think, feel, act, what they say, what they do. Like you don't have authority. You only have authority over yourself.
Yeah.
But when you take on that responsibility, it feels like everything in life gets heavier because you actually can't do anything about it. You can only manage yourself.
Yeah. Which is if we honestly, I always say when I just look at what I can do and just own my stuff, because I got plenty of stuff I don't need. I really don't need anybody else's stuff.
Right. I don't need your stuff. You don't need mine.
Hello. My gosh. If I just work on my stuff, that alone makes it lighter. There's so much more. There's gratitude. There's thankfulness. Honestly, there's more humor. Because one thing I have realized, when I'm coaching, I take that seriously. I'm taking what I'm doing seriously. I do when I teach classes and I realize this is going to sound so silly because I know they're just fitness classes, but I do feel a sense of, I am responsible for bringing a safe, fun, enjoyable class. There's a lot to it. So I take what I do fairly seriously because I'm also making sure that nobody gets hurt. Although, sometimes we're goofy and we do stuff, but that's my responsibility. But there's so much more joy in when I'm just doing that. Like there's still joy in it because that's all I have to do. I do the best. I take what I'm doing. That's serious, not that serious, but it's serious enough. The rest of it can be fun. The rest of it can be super light, super like I don't take myself seriously. Oh my gosh. To the dog.
Yeah.
That's why I don't take myself. I can't take what I do, yes. But
it's so easy to make it heavier than it needs to be.
Yeah, I'm not. I am
paying
not.
Attention.
I am such oh my goodness. If we were really to take responsibility and pay attention, just pay attention to how we say things during the day or what we do, we are really silly. Even sometimes what we get angry about or what we like, if you decide to take on something, responsibility for my adult kids, it's just so much better when we literally just do what the Lord has put in front of us. And then let the rest of it fall off. Doesn't always happen.
And don't you find too, when you stop trying to take responsibility which in our mind, we can think we're just trying to be responsible or care, and it really can lean into control and manipulation, which somebody wisely told me a couple of decades ago. If anytime you start caring about something more than the other person cares about it, you are in control and manipulation. And she said, you know what that is? Witchcraft. I was like, oh,
Oh, wow. Okay, I've never heard it taken to that extreme. Thank you very much.
That. And she's like, really, control and manipulation. That's what witchcraft is. And she's like, you don't want to be controlling and manipulating other people, even through your prayers. And she's like, don't care about something that is somebody else's to do more than they care about it, because now you're taking it on and it's not yours to do. And I was like, oh, she's preaching. But it stayed with me for a long time. But I realized when I let go of that burden and take away the fear that I could operate in over what somebody else might believe, think, feel, do, I can actually clear the way for me to have greater right inside of a relationship with them to speak into their life when they want my guidance or my care, my concern, because then I have permission to offer something to them versus I'm carrying this weight and expectation that they should do things the way I say. Specifically, I think this comes into play with our children. Yeah. And then I think it can definitely play a part in our relationship with older parents, like shifting. And it can always show up in the ways that we think other people should live their lives, the way we raised them, the way we think would be the most wise for them to go, all of those things. It's okay to care and it's okay to be concerned, but it's okay to take those things to the Lord versus pick them up and decide they're ours to do. And if it doesn't get done my way, then you better jump on the highway, It's not a fun way to live, but it also is not connective. It doesn't build trust between you and other people when you do try to control and manipulate through the lens or filter or the mask of, but I just care.
Yes. Yeah, there's a difference between taking care of and taking care to. Like you can care about somebody and show concern, concern, but to take care of them, to like you're caretaking, so you're taking their cares. You can't do that. Like we can't do that. Mm-hmm. And I do know that you can. I think we can fall into that pretty easily, especially when you do have aging parents, and then you have there's a name for it. Like when you're in between, you have aging parents and adult kids and grandkids and all that. And then what I've also seen is that women use that as an excuse to not take any care of themselves. So they don't eat well because they just don't have time, because they're really they're taking their grandkids all the time, even though they need to take some time, like they're trying to help. They're going in different directions. So they don't eat well. They don't make time to move themselves. They don't take time to even like just sit quietly for 5 minutes, to journal, to spend time with their spouse who maybe they've been married to forever. And all of a sudden they don't have anybody in the house, but they still never see each other, because they're out doing other things for other people and filling that void that they had when their kids were there.
It's the void of, I don't know my true identity.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like I have a solid purpose, and I don't have belonging. And so if I help people, if I do things to make them laugh or make them need me or make them like me, like it'll fill a void for me. And it's still about me, not about the person I'm helping. It is about them, but at the root system, it's about filling a void that I need, which is very common in a lot of personalities, men and women, in different ways. I think we try to fill those voids to find the identity, purpose, and belonging, because of the relationships, the work we can do, the way that other people need us. And that speaks a lot to our worth. And I think as you get older and your seasons shift, and you kind of move from one identity as a mom in your purpose as a mom, or even in a career, and you shift. And as you get older and your seasons and the identity and purpose inside of that season shifts, there's so much transition that there's not enough people helping us understand that the transition is coming, understand how to move through the transition, and know what to do with ourselves on the other side of it.
Yes.
Obviously, like you're going to find a life transition coach, like they're out there, but there's really just not a lot of understanding of what is coming towards me and how am I supposed to shift from this season and who I am in it and what I bring to this season or these people in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard and it's painful and it's actually a loss. You have to grieve the loss of the last season when you have found identity, purpose, and belonging in the last season and it shifts. You need to be able to pull over in the car, get your Kleenex, and grieve the loss.
What the heck? Well, I know. I mean, that's that whole transition to my husband had lost his brother-in-law in June. This is back in 2017. My son got married and my mom passed away. So 3 losses. And at the time I was thinking it's only 2. And I had a friend say, your son doesn't live at home anymore. And I said, well, nobody got married. It's awesome. It's so cool. It's amazing. I'm so excited for him. And they're like, yeah, but he doesn't live at home anymore. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like it didn't hit me that way.
Don't cry. Thanks for letting me know how much pain I
appreciate knowing about the grief I'm in, but it makes so much more sense why everything else was so amplified. But it didn't click because I was so excited about him being married. It never even. And I thought, oh my gosh, no wonder that whole empty nest thing. It's a big transition.
Yeah.
And going through menopause. When you go through it, and I truly believe if you're blessed long enough, you will go through it. There's no more children. There's no more childbearing. There's no childbearing. It's done.
Yeah.
And so there is a sense of that too. It is as excited as some women will say that they are about it. There's still something like, oh wow.
Right.
They're all of them. And you're right. Life transition coach. Or someone just to say, it's coming. It's coming. Just so you know it's coming. And it's going to be okay.
Right. So you don't feel like you got smacked up against the head and you're like, wow, I didn't see that subway coming. Why was I on the tracks? Why didn't somebody tell me to get off the tracks?
Why didn't somebody say something?
Somebody would have said.
Yeah, but someone would have just true. Yeah, sometimes you just don't know. I do know that being 50s were easy. Actually, 50s were not easy, but 50s were different. Turning 60, I went, oh, well, nobody said it changes in 60. That would have been nice to know.
Because so I just heard good news about 60.
Ooh, what? Is it the new 20?
I think it's the real 20. I think so. I was at a conference with Christine Kane, and I'm in a cohort group with of hers, and she said that research has shown that the most successful time of your life is from 60 to 70. The second most successful time of life is 70 to 80. The third most successful time of life is 50 to 60.
Interesting.
And if you compare that to like actually what you can create, and not just wealth financially, but I'm talking like wealth and riches and experience and impact and influence and relationships and everything that you bring to the table. If you think about it, what you're able to accomplish in your between 60 and 70 is pretty incredible because there's a lot of things you don't carry anymore. And you are able to be free to step into this true identity, purpose, and belonging, this leadership that God has gifted you, the spheres of influence that you're in front of. You have raised your children if you had them. You have set people free. You're like, here you go. And you are more aware of who you really are, what you're made to do, what you don't want to do. I mean, there's just so much power in it. And I thought it's really freeing because of a culture that says you should be an influencer and a millionaire influencer in your 20s and 30s. Like, this is the height of everything. I'm sorry, but if you read a book in your 20s, you're probably going to say, I wish I hadn't written that book when you're in your 60s. Because you're going to, I either need to change that book, pull it off the shelf, write a new one, or I've got to go in there and add things that it was definitely missing. Because, like I tell my kids, like, in your 20s, you don't know who you are, who you're not. In your 30s, you start figuring out who you're not. In your 40s, you start figuring out who you are. And in your 50s, you start walking in it. And then obviously now the research says that in your 60s, you start becoming successful. And I'm like, deal. We've got time.
You absolutely have time.
We've got some things to do in front of us.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
Corrie ten Boom, I think it says that Corrie ten Boom led more people to the Lord after she was 80 than in all of the years leading.
I believe that. I totally believe that.
Listen, that is the power of being younger in your soul than you are in your body.
And I will say that shifted too, like from wanting to be, well, I'll always want to be stronger, but just because I like being strong, but the wanting to fit into pants or, that whole like 20s, 30s thing. Now it's more, I want my priorities because I have grandkids. So like, I want to be on the floor. I want to be playing. I want to have influence on my grandkids. I want to be able to conversate with them and be alive and jumping around and all of that, not just for the sake of jumping around, but because I want them to know that this isn't it. Like, there's more. There's always more. And the Lord's always doing more. And he never stops doing more. So he's going to keep creating that new thing. Because he's constantly creating. He's constantly making things new. And that's actually, so that's where, if I can be, I'm fine. And success depends on what you're going to do. I have no idea. I do know that I'm being pulled into something. Like, he's definitely guiding me into some things that I don't even know what those things are. I just can feel him shifting stuff for me. I'm like, okay, we'll see. We'll just see where this is going to end up. Because every time, I don't expect him to do things. I don't expect what I get. And then I'm like, oh, look where I am. Okay, then let's do this. It's much more of an adventure that way. Much more of a fun adventure.
It's right. And walking with the Lord is always an adventure. This growing up thing is an adventure. We should all have trampolines and multiple rides on the carousel. Well, thank you for coming on and having a great conversation with me. This is fun. And thank you for sharing what I feel is a message to women that you can be multi-passionate, have a really great marriage, do lots of things, go lots of places, pursue the Lord, impact and influence the world around you wherever you find yourself, and find ways to take care of yourself, to actually have self-care, which is strategic and a superpower. It's not selfish, because it makes you the mama in the coffee shop. It makes you capable of being her because you're caring for yourself. It makes you capable of showing up for your grandchildren because you're caring for yourself. Like, there's so much life in it. And then taking that and integrating it with the fact that you take it to the Lord, that you cast your burdens on him, that you manage your thought life and look to him so that you have the mind of Christ. You're renewing your mind so that you can be lighter, not heavier, in spirit, in your soul, so that you can live this one life like to its fullest for all of the years that you have, like whatever God's got in front of you, whenever your greatest success in life actually ends up being, regardless of research, like, you do it with the Lord, you pursue him and seek the word, seek the truth, and then find your identity as a daughter who's leaning on the Father. That's, to me, that's like, oh, that's what Tamara just said. Preaching.
I like the way you rounded out. That was awesome.
That's what I got out of our time together.
That is perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. And always just have fun. There's just no reason not to laugh and have fun. I mean, I know there's serious times, but my goodness.
Right. Well, that's why I think I'm just a sitcom inside my head. And so I'm making myself laugh all the time, whether other people
I was going to say, are you your own laugh track though?
Maybe sometimes.
Are you live before a studio audience?
I'm kind of like The Office where the camera zooms and I show it my face.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That works.
My family is probably like, what is she doing?
Okay. So just we can leave with this. I, as a kid, because I was the only child, I did all the chores. I couldn't pawn them off on a sibling. I would literally be doing dishes, interviewing myself as the show host, and then I would be the person that would okay.
Yeah.
This is how Michael Douglas, Dinah Shore, all those. I was the interviewer and the interviewee, and I would interview myself while I was doing the dishes because it was just fun. See, so I truly get the sitcom whole thing in my head.
Yes, I remember I would read the shampoo bottle in the shower as a child. I would read it like I was the commercial for
Did you hold it up?
Selling this. Yeah, totally. And I would just read whatever it said on the back. And then I would talk about how my hair feels. Yeah.
See,
I know. We were made for the singing.
We really could be friends that are neighbors next to us. I still sometimes do stuff like that because you never know. Accents are fun.
Well, we're entertaining angels.
That's it. They're probably going, whoa.
I'm literally entertaining them in my mind, at least. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
thank you.
You are such a blessing. It's been a fun conversation. And I know a lot of ladies are going to get a lot of laughs and depth out of this.
All right. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the show so you don't miss any new episodes. And to learn more about me, my work, and how we can connect, visit sterlingandstonementoring.com or check the show notes. And until next time, remember, all things are possible and figure-outable.